This is about Trump's leadership, male, masculine, big ball leadership. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. This is about masculine fight. And if men don't fight, women, children, even other men are going to get hurt. You're going to be in trouble.
This is kind of an ongoing masterclass for the Republican Party, the new Republican Party. To quote Greasy Gav, how to fight fire with fire. The conservative movement, which I loved for the longest time, they were kind of happy to fritter away their influence and power on the notion that they were always above returning fire. I write for National Review. This is disgusting. Let's write a 4,000-word piece on judicial reform. And then they don't do anything. They go back and smoke their cigar. They always felt it was beneath them to get in the ring and hit back. So it's one of the presents that Trump gave the Republicans that they desperately needed were balls the size of Jupiter.
It's time for balls the size of Jupiter, my men. I'm with him. I loved the conservative side of the Republican Party for the longest time until one day we all woke up, might have been 4 years ago under Joe Biden, and you realize we're losing everything. And Trump is the only sign of fight that we've seen. And Republicans, I just got railed on this on Twitter by a guy going, I won't stoop to their level. I won't fight fire with fire. We've gone so long thinking that losing was acceptable in politics. The only way you win things in politics is by winning. This is about the fight. Trump's bringing the fight to the Smithsonian. White House releases a list of objectionable Smithsonian exhibits. This was paid for by our tax dollars. The White House released a list of Smithsonian exhibits it considers objectionable from several museums and the National Portrait Gallery. Now, remember, this is stuff that you're supposed to feel bad about bringing up. You're supposed to feel cowardly and afraid. And it just took a man like Trump to walk in and say, I'm going into the gallery. I'm canceling all the anti-America stuff. The list published on Thursday includes exhibits, programs, and art focused on racism, LGBTQ history, and illegal immigration. That's right. There's people in my audience that love defending the LGBTQ, illegal immigration, and racism. According to the White House, a campaign series included in the list of National Museum of African American History and Culture series educating people on a society that privileges white people and whiteness. All of the white people in my audience, you're probably like me going, when does the money truck back up to my house? Where's all these benefits I keep hearing about? And saying white dominant culture is defined as ways white people and their traditions. I want to know, what is the white people tradition? Probably besides going to what? Arby's? Is that a white tradition? I don't know. I don't know. Is Starbucks a white tradition? Is going to church a white tradition? What's the white? Eating, what do we eat in our tradition? I like fried chicken. Attitudes and ways of life have been normalized over time. The white tradition has been normalized. Okay. The campaign also portrayed the nuclear family, work ethic, and intellect as white qualities based on racism. Isn't that in and of itself just the most racist thing you've ever heard in your life? That these diversity people, these LGBTQ people at the Smithsonian said that having a nuclear family, a mother, a father, and say 2.5 children, that was somehow based in a quality based in racism. Here's another one, work ethic. My dad worked hard. I didn't know that was a white thing. It is a white quality based in racism, according to the Smithsonian. Oh, and intellect. Isn't it racist to say if you value intellect, that's a white quality? That's the most racist thing I've ever heard. And that's what the Smithsonian said, is that us valuing intellect is a white quality. It's insane. The series included content from hardcore woke activists Ibram X. Kendi, that's the Black Lives Matter guy, and the White House said the National Portrait Gallery's campaign to stop being wealthy, pale, and male included. Now, wealthy, there's always been a war against the rich. A war against pale and a war against male isn't half of the world male? That's what I mean by it's time for males to have big balls the size of Jupiter. A choreographed modern dance performance detailing the ramifications of the southern border wall and commissioned an entire series to examine American portraiture and institutional history through the lens of historical exclusion. We're the excluders. Also, the American History Museum displays the intersex inclusive progress pride flag at its entrance, also been known to fly alongside the American flag at several Smithsonian. No, you don't get to put your gay flag beside the American flag. Take your gay flag, put it in another room. American flag, very high. That's what unites us. The rainbow flag divides us. On the ballless forum of Americans, because I love Andy McCarthy. This is a tweet against Andy McCarthy. So Julie Kelly posted this video of Jack Smith on his charges against Trump.
Good afternoon. Today, an indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump with felony violations of our national security laws.
Now, that is brutal. That's Democrats fighting like they have balls. Here's Julie Kelly, today's National Review. Andy McCarthy, who I've shown a lot on this show because I really like his constitutional mind, but he called Kash Patel's post this morning unseemly. So much for presumption of innocence and the Justice Department's obligation to honor civil rights of persons under investigation, he said. Did McCarthy say that same thing about Jack Smith in June of 2023 when he publicly suggested Trump had endangered the lives of the military and NatSec government officials? No, he did not. This is what Greg Gutfeld said about the traditional conservatives that said, we do not fight back. We do not fight below the belt. We do not have big balls. And then here's on the gender bending issue. This is Democrats trying to scrub their own language, trying to train their own people to use the right words by Scott Jennings.
Story I've been tracking. It's somewhat amusing. There is a, we'll call it center-left think tank called Third Way. Center left. That's what, well, it's generous, but we'll call it center left. They've spent a bunch of money on a study to try to help Democrats not sound like lunatics. The purpose of the memo that they are circulating to Democrats is to tell them, here's how you can talk and sound like a normal person. And they have advised the Democrats to stop saying certain things.
Because they sound like lunatics, so they still believe the same thing. They just don't want you to realize this is why we need men to stand up and fight. Not just the words they use, but the issues they stand for. And I don't mean fight with your fists. I mean stand up, take a stand for your country. We vote, we debate, we call them out. I make fun of them all the time. I'm here to mock them and say, you have no cultural power over me. You can't make me cower and sit back. Neither can the church. If this church starts going squish on the rainbow and squish on abortion and squish on condemning Trump without ever having condemned Biden, I stand up and say no.
Here are the terms that the center-left Third Way says Democrats should no longer say. Privilege. Violence as in environmental violence, dialoguing, triggering, othering, microaggression.
I used to have a channel called Microaggressions.
Holding space, body shaming, radical transparency, the unhoused. Instead of saying homeless, a lot of Democrats use the term the unhoused. That's a big no-no. Food insecurity, housing insecurity, person who immigrated. Some of the euphemisms that liberals use for illegal.
This shows their techniques. They're formally rolling them out. This is my favorite. This is the weirdest one of all. Calling women birthing persons. Did you know that to Democrats it's offensive to say woman? They call them birthing persons. This shows how far their ideology goes. Look, if conservative men will not grow a pair and stand up and fight, they're going to come in and make it unfashionable, uncomfortable, culturally intolerant for you to say the word mom instead of birthing person.
Just say what it is. Birthing person. This may be the most egregious.
Yes.
Remember when they started referring to mothers as birthing persons? Oh, yes, birthing persons. This is how captured by the trans ideology the Democratic Party and the progressive left is.
Remember, to the people, I get a lot of this every time I talk about LGBTQ. People go, hey, you keep your beliefs to yourself. Just don't tell other people what to do. They were pressuring people to not, and I mean in legal documents in our medical community, so don't say this is personal or tiny. No, in science, At Vanderbilt Health, use birthing persons instead of mom. Can you imagine that? If I say I'm going to give my mom a call, I'm going to say, I think I'm going to give my birthing person a call. Hi, birthing person. I can't call her mom. Birthing person. Happy birthday, birthing person's day. Just thought I'd call you on birthing person. What? This is ridiculous. Men, stand up and fight. Sitting back and being a gentleman and being meek, love your enemies is why we're getting mowed and women are getting hurt. Women, families, children get hurt when men don't stand up. Here's Laura Ingraham on that the language that all the Democrats are changing on.
This is such a joke. I mean, it's almost a parody of itself at this point. I mean, you and I have been talking about the words, the dumb words they use for years. And now it takes some group from the 90s to come along, the third way that Al Fromm started, say, oh, well, those words aren't helpful. That's their big problem.
But this is the world we lived in for 4 years. I mean, so it was real, right? This is the kind of society that the Democrats wanted us to live in under Joe Biden.
And if Kamala Harris won, you'd start losing your job if you don't use birthing persons. They were going to expand it. It would have gotten worse. We were spared. Your totalitarian ideology, your intolerance against normies, against normals, straights, traditional families, nuclear families, it would have gotten much worse. This channel probably wouldn't exist because of you. I wouldn't have a job because of you people. So my audience, this is the other you people, patriots, happy patriots, who celebrate what Western civilization was built on and you don't call it white. It's not built on white anything. It's built on freedom. It's built on truth, goodness, and beauty. It's beautiful, treated by life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Men, if you've learned anything from Trump, it's after you take a bullet in the head, you stand up, you make a fist, and you say, fight, fight, fight. Your country is at risk. Much more than that's at risk. Do you want to be like Europe? Here's a girl on Europe who spent 5 minutes on the tube and gets assaulted because there's no men. Where are the men? Should this beautiful woman have to fend for herself?
Do you think this outfit is provocative? Do you think it's provocative?
Is the outfit provocative?
I'm wearing a fucking...
Sorry.
How is this okay, right? Keep this in mind. This is what I was wearing. I had to go one stop on the tube. One stop, 5 minutes.
On 5 minutes on the tube, she gets assaulted. A guy grabs her. She gets off. Another guy is walking behind her and following her. And she's yelling at the government in London, saying, this is at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. I don't feel safe. I was approached by 3 men out in public. This is about Trump, why he's taken over D.C. with the National Guard. That's manhood, stretching out, men, muscularity, stretching out, and crime vanishes. Murder ends. Black children are safer. Listen to this.
My name is John Featherstone. I'm a former migrant shelter director. It was the biggest mistake of my life. The biggest mistake of my life. The physical violence that I took, the mental torture that I took, the rapes that I saw that never got prosecuted, little girls being raped, and I would personally drive them to the police station, and the state would just cover them up.
You believe Maura Healey should be prosecuted?
I believe Maura Healey should go to jail for the rest of her life for the crimes that she's committed, yes. She's covered up rapes, she's covered up crimes, she's covered up sex trafficking, she's covered up drug dealing. The story that made national headlines, like I said earlier, is the man who impregnated his teenage daughter. You know, that man still has not been held accountable to this day, and it's been over a year. This gentleman, who I do not know or do not recognize, if he lives in the shelter in Marlboro, what he does is he gets free housing every day. He gets free meals every day, but he's also signed up for EBT card benefits, WIC card benefits, probably got a cell phone and a iPad computer through the Obama phone program. So he basically lives for free. And if he receives EBT card and has a family, probably taking in about $3,800 a month in EBT card benefits.
His wife gets $400 a month. He makes $55,000 a year for not having a job. That's what old school, go along, play by the rules Republican conservatives got all of us in the last 4 years. Being a gentleman is being a cad. Playing by the rules allows for all the rules to be completely broken and destroys human lives, especially women and children. That's my argument for standing up, making a fist, growing some balls.
because the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that